Thank you. That's wonderful. So, uh, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Frances Lorenz, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you that are here and all of you who are watching at home. So, I want to introduce the people in the program. You've just heard Bienvenido, Yangco, and accompanied by Terry O'Hara on piano. And with me on platform is our newest practitioner. She's just transferred from Temecula Valley, California. And already she's become head of our usher greeters. So she is a dynamo. Yes, welcome. So she is our practitioner today. We are doing a special meditation today. Matthew could not be here today, but as it turns out, Thich Nhat Hanh passed away on Ernest Holmes' birthday. And he has, I got a call from Al Lingo, who has a mindfulness center in Atlanta and was part of Thich Nhat Hanh's Order of Interbeing, to tell me of his passing. And he said there was a memorial service of which I got to watch that evening at 7. I discovered mindfulness meditation in the year 2000 and invited Al to come up and teach it to our congregation. I think he did that in 2000 and 2001. And finally in 2001, he said, you know, you really need to get a mindfulness meditation teacher who lives in Tacoma. And somewhere within the course of 1 or 2 weeks, Jude Razan called me and asked if she could have a mindfulness meditation group here on Thursday nights. And so she did it for over 20 years. She has retired in Olympia. And her protege was Drew Ebersole, Reverend Drew. And she trained him to substitute for her when she was gone. And so he and Matthew are going to be taking that group over on Thursday nights starting in March. We were going to start in February, but because of Omicron, decided it would be best to postpone it a month. So anyway, that we'll be doing that. We're going to read a tribute. Laura Bentel, our practitioner, is going to be reading a tribute to him, and then I will conduct a mindfulness meditation, just so you get the idea of how simple and beautiful that form of meditation is. So what else? Our musicians. Did I introduce Christina Brewer? I forgot. So Christina Brewer is our soloist. She's back from Texas. She spent a month in Texas, so we're delighted to have her back. And so onward and upward, we're going to start with an opening prayer from Pam, and that will be followed by Laura reading the tribute to Thich Nhat Hanh, and then myself, who will do a mindfulness meditation. Okay?
Good morning, everyone. Let us just come together. I invite you just to become centered, to go deep within your heart and within your soul. I know that the one power, the one God, the one loving presence is right here, right now, in this beautiful sanctuary. And today I choose to focus on love, the love of God that is eternal, is ever, ever present. I know this to be true. With a love deep in our heart, we are open to a sense of peace, a sense of comfort, a sense of joy, a sense of happiness, all centered, surrounded by the love of God. And as I know this to be true for myself, I know it to be true for every person within the sound of my voice, within these walls and beyond. And it is with a very, very grateful heart that I know that this service today just unfolds perfectly. The words that are spoken, the prayers that are read, the music that is played and sung is perfection. For it is love, it is God, it is the power, it is the joy, it is the presence. And so I simply allow these words to resonate into the law of mind, knowing that all is well, it is already done, and so it is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pam. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody here in this beautiful center of ours in Tacoma, as well as those that are home. And I forgot my glasses. I need to get my glasses. So good. See, I know what it is to be mindful of forgetfulness. This morning, I was so honored when Reverend Francis asked me to read this about Thich Nhat Hanh. I have been studying this beautiful, beautiful man for oh so many years. And so this is what was written in his honor. And please just take a deep breath, just knowing that he is with us always. He is with me always. Thich Nhat Hanh, the monk who popularized mindfulness in the West, died in Tu Nu Temple in Hue, Vietnam, this past week on January 21st, 2022. He was 95 years old. In 2014, he suffered a stroke, and since then was unable to speak or continue his beautiful teachings. It was his wish to return to the temple in Vietnam where he had been ordained as a young monk. He was a scholar of contemporary practices of Buddhist meditation. In the 1960s, he played an active role promoting peace during the Vietnam War. Over the years, he set up a number of organizations based on Buddhist principles of nonviolence and compassion. He established the Order of Interbeing, a community of monks and lay Buddhists who made a commitment to compassion into action. In 1966, he came to the U.S. to appeal for peace in Vietnam. He met Martin Luther King, who nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1967. Because of his peace work and refusal to take sides in his country's civil war, both communist and non-communist governments banned him, forcing him into exile for 40 years. He introduced mindfulness as a meditation practice in the 1970s. It was a way to understand inner being, the connection and codependence of everyone and everything. Thich Nhat Hanh will have lasting impact through his teachings and over 100 books. There are 11 global practice centers and over 1,000 global lay communities. 600 monks and nuns were ordained in his Plum Village in France. A tradition along with lay teachings. His legacy will continue in the present moment, and creating peace will live on. At CSL Tacoma, first introduced him in 2000 by Al Lingo from Atlanta, Georgia, Buddhist practice centers, and a member of Reverend Francis' Center in Atlanta. Al's daughter, Sister Jewel, who is an awesome teacher in herself, became a nun and studied at Plum Village. Al joined his Order of Interbeing. "Find a teacher here," he said, and we did. It was Jude Rosen, and for almost 20 years, she taught mindfulness every Thursday night. Now, she is retired in Olympia, and COVID has kept us from reopening that. We will now reopen that in March of this year, and it's going to be an exciting Thursday nights, so please join us. And I would like to read something that was in our magazine this morning, and it's by Thich Nhat Hanh. And as you know, the word joy is my favorite word, and I live it, and I am it, and I have it all over my house, the word joy. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura. That's wonderful. So somewhere I have this meditation. Mindfulness meditation is very simple to practice. When you come to a Thursday night meditation, you will be taught just to breathe in and breathe out and follow the breath. And notice when your mind gets distracted. That's essentially the practice. It's about a 30-minute practice, but I'm not going to do 30 minutes. I'm going to do one of the meditations he wrote that he called the second Gatha. And it goes like this. So if you would, when I say breathing in, actually breathe in deeply, and then breathing out, breathe out. And just allow the words to enter your consciousness. So centering our minds and just becoming still. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Breathing in, I see myself on a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things as they are. And breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. And the shorter version of this would be in, out, flower, fresh, mountain, solid, water, reflecting, space, free. And so, breathing in, I arrive. Breathing out, I am home. In the here, in the now. Breathing in, I feel solid. Breathing out, I feel free. Breathing in the ultimate. Breathing out, I dwell. And so it is.
When I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way and how to wear that starry crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down. let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, brothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way and how to wear that robe and crown. Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down. Let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way and how to wear that starry crown. Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down. Let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, fathers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way and how to wear that robe and crown. Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down. Let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, mothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Oh, sisters, let's go down. Let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, brothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Oh, fathers, let's go down. Let's go down. Won't you come on down? Oh, mothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray.
Oh, that was
Good
fun. That was fun. I love that song. So, announcements. We changed the annual meeting, membership meeting for our center. It's going to be the last Sunday in February. And it's right after the 11 o'clock service at 12 o'clock. And we'll have sandwiches or fixings for food of some sort. And I believe we're going to have an electronic version of the meeting. We're having to deal, though, with the bylaws, which say you have to be in person to vote. So if you have not joined the church, I wanted to also invite you to become a member of this center. And there is a membership form in the back, but we like to say that membership increases your personal commitment. It strengthens your experience of being fully alive and living with purpose, and it declares your intention to consciously live your life by the principles of science of mind, which we teach here, to take ownership and participate, and it affords also voting privileges in our annual elections, changes in bylaws, etc. So that we will be electing one new trustee if there's any interest in being a trustee. I believe Beverly Holland has submitted her name as a potential trustee. We of course all know Bev, and these are open elections. So if you have a wonderful desire to serve the board and have been a member for at least a year, then we would welcome you to apply. And the application process is on our website. See, anything else I want to announce? We are currently doing an Emma class that is being conducted by Mona Williams. It started out as just being a practitioner support group, but a number of laity have joined the class. And so if you are interested in joining, just talk to me after the service and we can sign you up. We would be in lesson 3 in Scientific Christian Mental Practice, which is her main book. Is every Tuesday night from 7 to about 8:30? Yeah. Yeah. 1 hour, 7 to 8 on Tuesday evenings. So if you haven't studied Emma, she's quite a powerhouse. She escaped from Christian Science and formed her own seminary in Chicago and became known as the teacher of teachers. She trained thousands of teachers, not only just from metaphysical faith centers, but also for traditional churches. She wrote Sunday school materials. She was just a phenomenon. And she later moved to New York and had a very extensive practitioner practice there after she gave up her seminary. But in the meantime, she trained thousands of teachers and sent them out all over the United States. So Ernest Holmes credits her as being one of his mystical teachers, along with Emerson and Troward and others, because he was a voracious reader of all things. So anyway, if you'd like to do that in February, just let me know. I'll get you the link so you can. And I have books. If I think I have about 8 books in my office. If you don't have the book, Scientific Mental Christian Practice, it's very wonderful. It isn't at all Christian theology at all. She's talking about my God is my good and I deserve to have my good. You know, it's different kind of language, but very solid and wonderful. And she had, everything she did was in 12. So she had 12 lessons in mental science. She has high mysticism. There's 12 lessons. There's a book she wrote called Resume that is 12 lessons. And so everything is the number 12, which of course is the number of the disciples, which have symbolic meanings that you can learn by taking this class. So Mona Williams initiated this, and it's really exciting. I planned to join. I spaced and didn't attend the first class, but I will be there on Tuesday nights to attend the class. That's happening. What else is happening? We're having a leadership council meeting of practitioners and board the last Saturday in January from 2 to 5, and there will be other announcements of the whole curriculum that's coming up in March. Of course, we're going to start the mindfulness group on Thursday nights. I'm going to be teaching a class on Wednesday night on putting on the mind of Christ, and it's really about learning the language that was actually well, I'll explain it in my sermon because I've got a little excerpt, because we like to look at the Aramaic translations of the Bible because they're quite different. Jesus spoke Aramaic, and so knowing the meaning of those words and using the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. So I'll be doing a 7-week class. Before Easter. I've done this before as preparation as part of Lent. But anyway, I will be doing that. Bev Holland will be teaching self-mastery. That's a class we haven't offered in a while. It'll be Monday nights, starting the March 7th from 6:30 to 8:30. And we will be using the text, The Four Agreements, which I think is a classic book on ethics. So anyway, lots of things are coming up. We are also going to start, I haven't quite set the date, but we're going to have a very interesting workshop on bias that will involve a panel discussion of people all over the community. And we're in the planning stage of that. That'll be later in the spring. Matthew and I are going to do a forgiveness workshop on the 19th of February on forgiveness. We're going to be using Desmond Tutu. He passed away. We've lost some really great people this past year. So Desmond Tutu has a wonderful process of forgiveness. We're going to be using quantum forgiveness as well as Edith Stouffer's Unconditional Love and Forgiveness. So 3 books we'll be incorporating in practices of forgiveness on the 19th of February. So watch for all the exciting things ahead. So thank you. That's it, and we're going to have a wonderful song called Wonder, which is our theme this month, if you hadn't figured that out.
Reverend Francis sent me this song, and I read it, and the lyrics are just fantastic. The lyrics are phenomenal. And did you know there's so many songs named Wonder, and they're all amazing? I went down this Wonder song rabbit hole, and I'm like, I'm going to learn them all. These are all amazing. So this song is called Wonder. A little bit more, Mike. Okay, go ahead and give it a if I'm being real, do I speak my truth or do I filter how I feel? I wonder, wouldn't it be nice to live inside a world that isn't black and white? I wonder what it's like to be my friends, hope that they don't think that I forget about them. I wonder, and right before I close my eyes, the only thing that's on my mind, been dreaming that you feel it too. I wonder what it's like to be loved by you. Yeah, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what it's like to be loved. I wonder why I'm so afraid of saying something wrong. I never said I was a saint. I wonder when I cry into my hands, I'm conditioned to feel like I'm less of a woman. I wonder if someday you'll be by my side and tell me the world will make it all right. I wonder, I wonder. And right before I close my eyes, the only thing that's on my mind, been dreaming that you feel it too. I wonder what it's like to be loved by you. Yeah, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what it's like to be loved by you. I wonder what it's like. Yeah. Ooh. And right before I close my eyes, the only thing that's on my mind, been dreaming that you feel it too. I wonder what it's like to be loved by you.
in a download to me, it said, get her to make a whole CD of wonder songs, get it on the market, because that is the theme for our movement all year long.
That's a good idea.
And everybody would buy it from you. Okay.
Terry, we've got a project.
You got a project, yeah. Oh, wow. Let me get my note, get all these papers out of the way. So the title of my talk today is Why Matters. All wonder and curiosity all go together. When I learned that curiosity was part of this message, I remembered a proverb I heard as a child, and probably you did too, which is curiosity killed the cat. How many of you have heard that? Yes? Those of you who are cat lovers know that not only do cats have 9 lives, but they can be quite curious. But the proverb is usually used when attempting to stop someone from asking unwanted questions about things that you want to keep to yourself. For example, someone might ask, is this your 3rd or 4th marriage? And you can reply coyly, curiosity kills the cat. It kind of shuts them right up. No one wants to die that way anyway. So leave it to St. Augustine, who invented original sin, by the way, to also write in his Confessions in 397 AD that some eons before creating heaven and earth, God fashioned hell for the inquisitive. That's a great way to preserve power, isn't it? Don't let any questions be asked. Fortunately, our founder, Ernest Holmes, who just celebrated his 125th birthday, was known as the eternal question mark. He questioned absolutely everything. Ernest Holmes created the philosophy of science and mind that is open at the top, which means it continues to deepen and expand. And we affirm that anyone can become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the living God. And one way to be close to the indwelling presence is through asking questions. The sacred inquiry is available to all of us of this infinite intelligence, and it lets divine wisdom guide our lives. Curiosity leads to creativity and innovation, as well as knowledge and wisdom. And so our willingness to ask questions keeps us open at the top. Brene Brown wrote a book called Rising Strong, and she looked at all the research on curiosity, and she found that it's both a trait and a state. George Lowenstein, who is a professor of economics and psychology at Carnegie Mellon University, says, curiosity is the feeling of deprivation we experience when we identify and focus on a gap in our knowledge. And you just heard Christina talk about all the songs on wonder. You know, she said she went down a rabbit hole. That's what happens when all of a sudden you're curious about all the other songs that were written about wonder. So, and it drives you to do something about it too. Yeah. So AG is the most unusual name I've ever read. Aggeek is the last name, just the initial K. Wrote an article, Why Curiosity is the Most Important Skill of the 21st Century. And he cites that new job roles are constantly being invented. And I was at a meeting the other day, and they said, why don't you let those students do an app for that? So everything has an app. And it's pretty amazing, some of the things that are going on and new things that are being invented. So your propensity to think outside the box is what counts. We live in a time when it's never been more easy to learn. The internet itself is the most expansive learning tool in history. And being curious, you're always in a position to learn, and you can open up doors to continuous improvement. So look for answers in unexpected places. By discussions with others, you can discover fresh new thoughts. I went to visit an old friend last week who's always learning new things, and so it's like going to a university to visit her at her house. And I received enough information from her in one afternoon to put in my next order to Amazon of 20 books. Really. Offhandedly, she mentioned the insight of one of the new authors she was reading, who, while walking the labyrinth, which is flat, said she experienced it in 3 dimensions, or maybe 4. And now my curiosity is piqued because Sharon Sterling has a labyrinth that fits our sanctuary, and she'd like to do a walking meditation on it, maybe every quarter. So I was sparked because I'm wondering how you can engage in a 3 or 4 dimensional meditation on the labyrinth, you know. So there's a wonderful quote, and it says, truth walks toward us on the paths of our questions. Don't you love that? Truth walks toward us on the paths of our questions. So curiosity is where the magic happens. So 3 things I'd like to emphasize today. One is question everything. Why not? We don't have dogma here, by the way. Question everything. Gain spiritual discernment and then live in the question. So start with question everything. On average, children ask between 70 to 100 questions a day. Can you believe that? Yes. A lot of them is why. Well, you have kids that are asking questions, right? So the tiny word why is a big question. We're each born with natural curiosity. And so when we're young, we have this desire to learn and understand more about the world around us. And we imagine that anything is possible. So compare children with adults who only ask an average of 20 questions a day. It's not curiosity that kills the cat. It's put-downs of our questions that gradually diminish our natural curiosity about the world we live in. We also should monitor if we're censoring or putting down people who ask us questions. Don't passively accept things around you as being just how they are. Ask why. What you can be interested in is absolutely limitless. So question everything. That was the reason that Augustine didn't want any questions asked. He created a philosophy of fall redemption, a world of original sin, instead of accepting the Jewish perspective of original blessing. So I would have wanted to ask a lot of questions of Augustine. In the appendix of Original Blessing that Matthew Fox wrote, there's a 2-column chart that compares the difference between fall redemption theology and creation spirituality. And one of my clients wasn't getting along with his traditionally oriented girlfriend, and so I gave him a copy of Original Blessing and showed him the chart saying, science of mind is creation centered. And you can see why by looking at this chart and have some good conversations with your girlfriend. So in fall redemption, that originated with St. Augustine, and the creation-centered philosophy is Jesus, Paul, Hildegard, all the creation mystics. The fall redemption theology is patriarchal, creation-centered theology is matriarchal. Fall redemption begins with sin, and creation-centered spirituality begins with creative energy. Nature is unimportant in the first, while creation-centered spirituality is ecological and cosmic. One is dualistic, either or. The other is dialectical, both and. One is more interested in control. Creation-centered spirituality is more interested in letting go. One is elitist, the other is inclusive. No cosmic Christ, cosmic Christ. Emphasis on Jesus as the Son of God, emphasis on Jesus as a prophet, way shower. And of course, Meister Eckhart said we're all sons and daughters of God. And Jesus was the master teacher who called others to experience their divinity. One filled with guilt and redemption, the other filled with thanksgiving and praise. So humanity is sinful here. Humanity is divine, but capable of misusing the law. That's what Ernest Holmes described as evil, misusing the law. So Matthew Fox has described, if you want to read this fabulous paper, you can go to Matthew Fox's website and read his paper on Ernest Holmes. He described him as the creation spirituality mystic, which is probably the most ultimate compliment anyone could give to Ernest Holmes. So by asking questions, we become more creative. Secondly, spiritual discernment. Through this, we see that we have within us a power greater than anything we shall ever contact, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our experience. Ernest Holmes said that. So I used to know a couple in Austin, Texas. They were named Doc and Ruth, and they did spiritual presentations all over the country. And they would, before they came to or left to go to a place or determined where they were going next, they would both go into prayer and meditation to get a direction for their next workshop. So they would receive a message like, go to Akron, Ohio. But before they pursued that, they both had to get the green light because they were a couple. So that is what you would call spiritual discernment. Envisioning, which is a practice we teach here, we ask an open-ended question like, what is Spirit's highest vision for my life? What is mine to do right now? What's the next indicated step for my life, and what direction should I go in? And we might have the answer to these questions, and sometimes we find it, or sometimes we have to keep seeking the answer. Our minds are one with the one mind which only knows the highest and best, so we can certainly go to it for guidance. And the third aspect is living the question. Mary O'Malley wrote a book called What's in the Way is the Way. What's in the way is the way. And she says asking a question signals to life that you're ready to live the answer. And then life lives it through you at the appropriate time. So many organizations describe what they provide in terms of products. But Simon Sinek, and I think our board went through, J. Michael Gotney, who used to be a practitioner here, has moved to Texas, and he did seminars on Simon Sinek's why. The why is not just the act of making money, it points to a cause or a vision or a purpose. And he says most of us are preoccupied by the what, but not driven by the why. And so we spend most of our time just getting work done and don't remind ourselves of why we even care to do it. And Sinek refers to the Wright brothers, Martin Luther King, and Apple Computer as having leaders that ask why. So in terms of our own lives, what do we believe in? What's our cause? What's our purpose? If we've chosen a certain career, what's the why of it? So the Toyota founder, named Toyota, developed a technique known as the 5 whys. When a problem happens, the question why is asked 5 times in order to drill down to the false belief and create a new mental equivalent that'll set a new cause in motion. And Toyota was an innovator. He originally developed the 5 whys to challenge conventional thinking. So why also drives our discontent, which then gives us a shove forward in a different direction. Leo Tolstoy, this is a story of a man who woke up. Count Leo Tolstoy was born into a family of nobility in Russia. And as a youth, he led a wretched life, getting into robbery, sexual excess, drunkenness, cruelty. As a soldier, he was a vicious killer, and he suffered deep inner torment. Motivated by money and fame, he began to write, but he saw only the horror of the human condition, and he came to a breaking point and searched all the branches of knowledge, asking the question, was there a way out? And his days were so filled with despair, he would ask, why am I living? And then finally he asked, how can I save myself? And then something in the New Testament touched him and caused him to understand pain and suffering. It said, men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are not in the light. And so he saw his own ways and decided to change them at the age of 58, and came to understand that life is meaningful only when we are conscious, really conscious of truth and reality. And so later, the Quakers wrote to Count Tolstoy and sent their writings on nonviolence. Tolstoy sent them to Gandhi, who was in South Africa at the time, and then Gandhi sent them to Martin Luther King. So those writings went around the world, and Tolstoy formed a spiritual ashram on his wife's property and wrote, "The Kingdom of God is within you." It's a beautiful book if you get a chance to read it. So you have to be willing to ask the question. Brene Brown says, choosing to be curious is choosing to be vulnerable, because it requires us to surrender to uncertainty. We have to ask questions and admit to not knowing and risk being told we shouldn't be asking. So Abraham Joshua Heschel, the Jewish rabbi, says, our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed. So I graciously accept all the goodness that surrounds me this particular time, and pray that you do too, and that you will allow the questions to surface and ask and ask and ask, so that you can become more creative and full. God bless you. Thank you.
When Laura was reading that beautiful piece earlier, I was struck by the part that talked about how interconnected we all are. And this song is definitely one that speaks to that. It's beautiful. think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the granny bobcat why he grins? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches that surround you, and for once never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends, and we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the eagle where he's been? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then we'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skin, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountains. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth, and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
So it's time for our offering. Thank you, Christina. That was gorgeous. So we like to say the blessing that's in the program. So together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And so our offering music is going to be Pastoral, which was written by Michael Hopi and arranged by Dimitri Varelas.
What an absolutely beautiful service. I am amazed. And I know that with each of us, as we allow this beautiful day to unfold, just allowing our heart and our soul just to revel in the music, the message, the reading, and just to feel the love. This is a beautiful day. Allow God to enter our hearts, our souls, and just know that all is well, all is right. For this life that we lead is absolutely amazing. And so I just simply let it go, I let it be. And with a grateful and a heart filled with love and joy, and I say, and so it is.
All right, if y'all decide to sing along with this one, if you decide to dance with this one, you can do that too. Do what you feel led. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. Scripture told me that I had to be good. Now I love because I want to. I love because I'm free. Blinded by the Spirit, oh Lord. The Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. I don't need any party, don't need any love. I want to sing with all my heart that God is my one and all. I let go of my burdens. Loving God has made me free. Blinded by the Spirit, oh Lord. The Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, 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 the Spirit of God is upon me. All right, Terry, here you go. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, Spirit it was my duty. I thought it was my job. Thought whatever I believe, loving God would be hard. But loving God is wonderful. Loving God is ecstasy. I thank God for my freedom. Let me tell you, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh,
Spirit of God is upon me.
oh, Spirit of God is upon me. Oh,
Spirit of God is upon me.
oh,
Spirit of God is upon
acapella. Spirit of God is upon me. Oh,
Spirit of God is upon me.
Oh, Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, boom, boom. Spirit of God is upon me.
Oh, so thank you, Christina. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in today. Those of you at home, we'll see you next week. And God bless you all.